Dearly beloved, we shall now take the biography. The family rep will take it in front of the days where the family is seated. Biography by family.
For us in Africa, the girl child is a special concern. Hers is the future that is often negated right from birth. And hers is therefore the life that must be salvaged first. We must give her an education that empowers, an education that gives skills, and an education that builds self-confidence. Address by Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings to the 4th World Conference on Women in Beijing, 1995. Nana Konadu Agyeman was born on the 17th of November, 1948. She was the third of 7 children of John Osei Tutu Agyeman and his wife, Felicia Agyeman, née Sapong of Mpobi, Ashanti. Nana Konadu's father was the son of Ohiniba Owusu Seche Agyeman, whose father was Otumfuo Mensah Bonsu, the 11th Asantehene. Nana Konadu's father, therefore, named her after her paternal grandmother, Nana Konadu Yadum III, the 11th Asantehene. Nana Konadu's mother, Mrs. Felicia Agyeman, was an educationist who dedicated herself to raising her 7 children and to the organization of both her marital home and the busy social life brought about by her husband's position as a very senior manager of the United Africa Company, the UAC, in the Gold Coast. Nana Konadu's early life was shaped by Ashanti culture and traditions of strict protocol, good manners, social graces, self-reliance, and the self-control required of a woman to establish a home and raise children of her own in dignity. Kwame Nkrumah officially assumed office as Prime Minister in 1952, and with Nana Konadu's father, his extensive business and managerial experience within the UAC, he was headhunted by the Nkrumah administration to run the government's business sector in Accra. The Agyeman family therefore settled into the rich community, and with education a major priority in the Agyeman family household, all Agyeman children of school-going age continued their education. Nana Konadu Agyeman attended Progress School, Mrs. Sam's School, for her infant primary education, where, for the first time, she would come into contact with a boy called Jerry John. After 2 years in Mrs. Sam's School, she continued to Ghana International School and then to Achimota School in September 1961 at the age of 12. She found, to her annoyance, that Jerry John The boy from Mrs. Sam's Progress School was in her class and noticeably bright. Achimota School had separate provisions for Catholic and Protestant worship. Nana Konadu attended Protestant worship because she had been raised Protestant. Jerry John, on the other hand, was Catholic, but she recounts that at the age of 15, in Protestant choir practice, Jerry John suddenly showed up to join the Protestant choir. It was much later that she would find out that Jerry John had no interest in being part of the choir. He had joined the choir to be close to her. Halfway through the year of 1966, Nana Konadu Agyeman and Jerry John completed their GCE O-levels at Achimota. While Nana went on to do her A-levels, Jerry John decided to pursue his lifelong dream of becoming an Air Force pilot. In 1967, Jerry John enlisted as a flight cadet in the Ghana Air Force and later won the Speedy Bird Trophy. Nana Konadu Agyeman went on to the University of Science and Technology after her A-levels. And it was at the University of Science and Technology that Nana Konadu, the student political activist, was born. Up until this point in her life, Nana Konadu had never really been interested in the activism of any kind. However, she soon found herself deeply engaged in student-led movements to address the growing culture of corruption in the country. In 1969, she stood for elections and became a member of the Students' Representative Council, the SRC. Nana Konadu went on to serve on the National Union of Ghana Students. Nana Konadu graduated with honors in graphic design and applied arts in 1972 from the University of Science and Technology and began her career at the Ghana Tourist Board. Subsequently accepted a position with the Union Trading Company, one of the largest trading companies in Ghana at the time, rising to group manager a few years later. In 1975, she earned a diploma in interior decoration at the London College of Arts. After years of courting amidst Ghana's socioeconomic upheavals, Nana Konadu Agyeman and Jerry John Rawlings were married at Ridge Church on January the 29th, 1977. Both in their late 20s, Nana Konadu was a group manager still at UTC, while Jerry John was a young pilot officer with the Ghana Air Force. As Nana Konadu traveled outside of Accra on assignments for the UTC, she came face to face with the true horrors of poverty as it gravely affected our nation's women and children. In small towns, she worked in the gated communities of the beautiful UTC compounds, where she managed the interior design of all corporate housing units reserved for executives, mostly Europeans and their families. Each housing unit was fully equipped with luxury amenities in well-furnished, British-inspired architecture and bungalows. Though she worked within the compound, she was deeply affected by the local people who lived outside the compound walls. Their plight was impossible to ignore, and it was difficult to fathom what future lay ahead for them and their children. She could not ignore these women she saw in rural Ghana. They left an indelible mark on her mind, heart, and soul. With the second coming of JJ on 31st December 1981, that ushered in the 31st December Revolution, Nana Konadu was catapulted into the position of First Lady of Ghana. She made it her life's mission to ensure that women would be empowered so that they too can contribute equally to nation building and be part of the decision-making of Ghana at every level of our society. So, in 1983, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings and several like-minded women established the 31st December Women's Movement and the objective of empowering women socially, politically, economically, and culturally to play their rightful role in our national life. As First Lady in 1982, at the time of scarcity, and at the young age of 34, Nana Konadu was also building a family. Her first child was born in June 1978 at the height of Ghana's socioeconomic decline and was named Zenato, let the darkness end, in the Ewe language, symbolizing the state of Ghana at the time. The children who followed Zenato were born in the 1980s, where Nana Konadu juggled effectively her role as mother and wife and her role as activist First Lady. Taking frequent work travels to the rural areas meant that Nana Konadu was not a woman who intended to live a life of luxury as a First Lady. There was work to be done. It is therefore not surprising that one of her key phrases was, "Pregnancy is not an illness," as she got on with her work in the rural areas during her pregnancies. Imbuing her children with her own upbringing, she balanced a strict, disciplined disposition with laughter and love. Very conscious of the political reasons that brought about the 4th of June 1979 uprising and the 31st December Revolution, Nana Konadu and her husband were very intentional in keeping her children grounded. Airs, arrogance, and a sense of entitlement were not tolerated in the Rawlings household. Having come from a home that practiced strong family values, she imparted those qualities to her children, raising them in an environment that espoused patriotism, honesty, duty, forthrightness, and courage. Growing the 31st December Women's Movement was not without its obstacles. However, encouraged by the enthusiasm of women around the country who were open to transforming their lives, Nana Konadu persevered with her mission. The organization, over the years, grew to nearly 2 million members across Ghana, embracing women irrespective of social standing, profession, religion, marital status, or ethnicity. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings is widely credited with mobilizing and encouraging more women to exercise their franchise at all levels of political participation, from district assembly elections to presidential and parliamentary contests. Under the leadership of Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, the movement received wide recognition, both nationally and internationally, for its contribution to issues concerning women. Her political struggle provoked the promulgation of several monumental social legislations under the PNDC government, with its flagship PNDCL 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, and Article 28, subsection 1 of the 1992 Constitution, also reflected in the Children's Act 650. Over the next 30 years, the organization's projects included family planning education programs, which benefited more than 240 communities, the construction of boreholes in guinea worm-infested areas to support several dozen rural communities, afforestation programs with the target of planting several thousand trees in 3 communities in the northern parts of Ghana, the establishment of daycare centers to offer preschool training facilities for children, and the launching of prenatal, postnatal, and child immunization programs in conjunction with the Ministry of Health of Ghana. From large cities to the smallest villages, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings embraced the duty to serve the least privileged and to stand beside those who felt left behind and marginalized. Away from the news headlines, the movement became a critical lifeline for many women and families across the country, creating a blueprint for the next generation of advocacy groups and development-focused non-profit organizations. With the decision for Ghana to return to multi-party democracy, Nana Konadu advocated for the creation of a new political party that would reflect the pervading political consciousness of Ghana. She believed that the party should further reflect the revolutionary ideals that had been the driving force of what got Ghana out of socioeconomic turmoil under the leadership of Jerry John Rawlings. This was to be a party born from the ideals of probity, accountability, and transparency, and open to Ghanaians from all walks of life who upheld these convictions. Working with like minds and putting her artistic and political acumen to the fore, the concept and design of the emblem of a new party was born. Nana Konadu hit the ground running and mobilized the grassroots to vote for the NDC and for its candidate, Jerry John Rawlings, who went on to win the 1992 and 1996 general elections and was sworn in as Ghana's first president of the Fourth Republic, with Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, his wife, as First Lady. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings did not slow down as First Lady of the Republic of Ghana. She worked even harder. With the establishment of the First Lady's office, a distinction between her First Lady's responsibilities and her work as President of the 31st December Women's Movement was created, even though they sometimes overlapped. At the Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing in 1995, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings expressed her deep concern for the girl child in particular. She stressed, "For us in Africa, the girl child is a special concern. Hers is the future that is often negated right from birth, and hers is therefore the life that must be salvaged. We must therefore give her education that empowers, education that gives skills, and education that builds self-confidence. This declaration followed her relentless advocacy efforts, which contributed Ghana becoming in 1991 the first nation to approve the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It was for this reason that she sacrificed so much of her own life, standing tall for as long as she had the strength, irrespective of the risk that accompanied her work. For Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, it was imperative never to lose sight of the privilege she possessed and the platform upon which she stood to touch as many lives as she could. Committed to peace on the continent, she hosted the first West African Sub-Regional Conference on the Africa's First Ladies Peace Mission, themed African Women Strive for Peace, at the Accra International Conference Center in July 1998. She did this in her capacity as the first vice chairperson of West African First Ladies. This summit was inspired by the 1995 Beijing Conference, where Nana Konadu played a pivotal role in highlighting the plight of the African women and the girl child. Alongside her work to uplift women and children, Nana Konadu was central to the continuity and growth of the National Democratic Congress. She supported candidates that showed interest in running for constituency seats by providing support and political guidance, culminating in their electoral victories. Working with other leading members of the NDC, she was instrumental in establishing the NDC's presence in university campuses and identifying young people in politics who she schooled on real politics. Amidst all of her political hurdles while the NDC was in opposition, Nana Konadu remained steadfast in her political convictions. She continued her work on women's empowerment and child education, while continuously mobilizing the grassroots over their 8 years in opposition and preparing the ground for the upcoming 2008 general and parliamentary elections. She volunteered as a polling agent many times, one of which was at the controversial Osu Presby polling station in the 2008 general elections. Nana Konadu ran in the NDC national executive elections in 2009 and won with a landslide victory to become the first female vice chairperson of the party in 2011. She resigned as vice chair to run in the primaries for the position as flag bearer, challenging the leadership at the time. She made history as the first woman to challenge a sitting president for the NDC's presidential flag bearership at the party's congress in Sunyani, although she was unsuccessful. Not one to be deterred from her convictions, she stayed true to the ideals of probity and accountability, and with others established the National Democratic Party in October 2012 and became the party's presidential candidate in the 2016 general election. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings' work in women's empowerment, advocacy, and leadership made Ghana's presence on the global stage a light that transcended borders. From the National Population Conference in Accra in 1989, the 4th Regional Conference on the Integration of Women in Development in Abuja, Nigeria in 1989, the 5th Annual John Hopkins International Philanthropy Fellows Conference in Accra in 1993, the International Conference on Population and Development in Cairo, Egypt in 1993, to the preparatory meeting for the Beijing Conference in Dakar, Senegal in 1994. She participated in and contributed to both national and international conferences on issues of national and global concern. Similarly, she had the opportunity to lend her voice to impactful and forward-looking resolutions that emerged from conferences such as the International Atomic Energy Agency Patrons Meeting in Vienna, Austria in 1994, the United Nations Fourth Conference on Women in Beijing in 1995, First West African Sub-Regional Conference on the African First Ladies Peace Mission in 1998, the International Conference on Population and Development in The Hague, Netherlands in 1998, and the extraordinary session of the Crans-Montana Forum on Africa in Brussels in 2010. Even while out of office, she continued her work for women's empowerment by continuing to campaign for women and ensuring the electoral victories of female parliamentary candidates across the political divide. Konadu. For Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, she stepped onto the global stage as a woman who dedicated her life to being the voice of the voiceless, a global voice for equality, and a leader who empowered generations. Her life was about finding an inner resolve to fight through every challenge till the end, just as in her name, Konadu. Among her significant publications are the Japanese cooperation with the 31st December Women's Movement, the development of Ghana's women's attire from 1700 to 1900, and effective design work and interior design. She is also the author of It Takes a Woman, published in 2018, and For Hope and Glory, For Hope and Country, 2025. Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings summed her life's work artfully. I could not stop reaching. There were many days when I hoped the clouds would disappear so that I could see a picture of what the next chapter of my life would become. Nothing in these moments had been as I had planned. Somehow, I hoped my childhood had prepared me for the life ahead. I hoped every one of my father's embraces and reassuring words would come back to comfort and counsel me. My family's heritage had carried a weight of its own, and I knew I was fortunate to have rested on the shoulders of these courageous men and magnificent women to now make my little contribution. I had to embrace it as God's purpose for my life and determine to never falter in that commitment. That was not the life I chose. It chose me. Deye Oba Penyi Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings. Oba Beyebi Na Wameye Ninyina. We shall remember you for your good works.